Hello and welcome back to another illustration video. Today we're going to try something new. We've been looking at illustrating the Pokemon trading card game, and now we're going to switch over to some other characters, and we're going to be taking a look at illustrating Adventure Time. So you can tell by our thumbnail here, I am an art teacher. That's something I've been doing professionally for quite some time now. So I'm hoping this will be a fun series of videos and a fun series of illustration. So let's go ahead and jump into our first one. So you're going to have to forgive me. I've not actually watched a ton of Adventure Time, so I don't know all of the character stories and backgrounds and details probably as well as some. I just really like some of the character designs. I think there's lots of cool different characters and colors and shapes and creatures and things like that in the series. And that's just something I thought I'd like to try my hand at illustrating. So this first one, gosh, shoot, I was stalling, now I'm already forgetting the name of this character. It's like Glob or Glorb or Glord or something like that. But this idea of kind of a crazy box character, I always think it's really cool when a character has a strong shape they can identify with. And I kind of geometrically decided to, throw some other shapes in there, some floating kind of Tetris style pieces around him. Not sure why I've got a picture of Goku in there. I think I just like those colors originally. You can see him going in with quite a bit of extra inked shading here. I wanted it to look like he's coming out of a portal at the top, so I've got kind of that shadow that we started out from. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the line work and how this one's turned out. Oh, it looks like I got those Tetris pieces from him. Okay, scratch that. That wasn't my original idea, but I'm pretty happy with this illustration. This is kind of a fun character. It clearly has some type of otherworldly, big skinsky powers or something to it. I just really like the design here. The colors I think are fun to play with. Anytime there's red and green, but it doesn't strictly identify as a Christmas palette, I always think it looks really good. So that lime green looks really nice juxtaposed with the red. So we've got it zoomed in on some of the details I've created here. Looking more closely at it, if there's something I would change, there's a ton of texture on the teeth and gums and not a ton of texture on the tongue, but then the tongue has a ton of shading and the teeth and gums have almost none. So I'd probably balance that out a little bit more. I think the green shapes are shaded and lined nicely. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this illustration. I think the background is kind of that nice chaotic smoky. It's like a pastel watercolory type texture. I blended and moved a bunch of things around to make that. Add a little bit of color hold to the portal so it could glow a little better. But yeah, overall for first take at an Adventure Time character, I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. So up next, I do know the name of this one. I think it's LSP. I believe I found this one. I had seen some Scotty Young daily sketches, and he had a couple of Adventure Time characters in there, and I think this is one of them. It's kind of like a purple cloud, like kind of obnoxious, but also just like pretty fun character. Um, but yeah, it's just that it's basically a purple cloud. It looks like I've got a reference of some of the different maybe forms that are up there. Um, and there's so many good colors in this series, so many good places to pull background colors and ideas from. I really like how I added the jewelry. I don't know if that's from anything in the story specifically or not. I just thought it'd be fun um, to have LSP kind of excited about a ring and have that glow match like the star on the forehead. I've added a ton of teeth. I don't know. It just seemed right to balance out kind of the puffiness of the cotton candy cloud texture, just juxtaposed by way more top row teeth than necessary. The background for this one is very similar in terms of kind of that smoky textural from the previous one. I probably could have pushed the colors a little bit more here, and now that I'm looking at it, I almost wonder if I didn't like set my blue layer to multiply. Maybe I tried that and didn't like it, or just thought it'd be fun to have blue. Not sure what I was thinking there, but these characters are pretty fun, so let's go ahead and jump into the next one. And this is a set of Banana Guard. Now, I remember making this one specifically I drew one and I was like, oh, okay, they got like a little army. I got an idea. I'll just like copy and paste it after I make one and then kind of manipulate the sizes to create a bunch of different ones. Um, Looking back on that, I don't like that idea I had for two reasons. One, in the references, after looking closely, they're basically all the same size. There's not really short banana guards or tall. Like they're all basically the same. So I wish I wouldn't have changed that so much. But something that I noticed in Procreate is when I transform a layer, so you can see my one on the right there is focused and really sharp. When I manipulated the other ones with like a transform layer, the line work gets fuzzy. It gets more pixelated, even though I'm using a textured ink brush. It gets more pixelated and blurry than the original, and I just really didn't like that. So this, yeah, the making the army in this way doesn't make as much sense in hindsight. But I did kind of tell myself like I want to get things done, so I've got to keep it moving. If I make a mistake on one, that's okay. We'll learn from it, and we'll just try to remember that for the next time we're doing something in that genre. So here we've got it's Finn in like a grass form. I assume his name is Grass Finn. I'm not really sure. I think I've seen screenshots where like the grass one and the regular one interact with each other, so I don't think it's like a costume necessarily. But the green one, I just kind of had this idea of the green one being like sad that it's not the original and kind of wondering what its place is. I know there's all kinds of swords in Adventure Time too. I'm sure there's lore and things like that go with that. So I had this idea of like the grass sword like going into the grass that's in the ground. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of a funny idea. But in this one, I really like the gesture. I really like the pose. I really like the expression. I feel like this is a very expressive like caricature, and that's something I'm learning from looking at these Adventure Time designs in general. Like everything is just so over the top expressive. I would say I add more texture in my illustrations, line work, and coloring than are in the show. It's very flat colors, very round and very soft, so it's fun to kind of like take those simple expressions and see how I can push them in different directions and add I don't know, just my own flair to what I'm making here. I really like how the leaves at the end and on the I don't even know if that's called like the hilt of the sword are folded in a way that feels very three dimensional, that feels very believable. I tried to put the grass elements in 3D, so it really felt like there was some space involved in this illustration. And you can see in the beginning here, what I'm going to try to do as I'm filling in those lime greens, I like roughed in my own background, and I just felt like it didn't have as much detail as my line work did, and I wasn't going to put all of that into the background. So after I end up coloring this, which I think went pretty well, I try, okay, instead of flat, let's do something more textural. Does that make sense? And this just didn't quite fit the atmosphere that I was going for, and I looks like all the dimension that I had was a little bit lost. So at the very end here, and then I try some black outlines and color holds. But at the end here, you can see I've ultimately gone with a open source, like free Unsplash image of the background that I kind of pictured the whole time. I really, really like how this one turned out. I left just a little bit of my blurred grass inclines in there, and I think it works really well, especially the shading and shadows underneath. Color holding the green on his body but leaving the mouth and eyes black, I think is a really nice touch. The only thing I probably would do different here, and see, I don't even know, like maybe change the green of the character to match the greens of the environment a little more, or vice versa. But I'm so happy with how this one turned out overall. Like, when you look at the image as a whole, I think it's pretty successful. The idea of kind of juxtaposing the cartoon and the real world, I think is fine. So maybe I would change that, maybe I wouldn't. But again, another one I was pretty happy with. So the next character we've got here, I think it's why do I have mid anime written down there? That's funny. I must have had notes on my sketch for something. But this one was like the lemon guards or the lemon grabs. I don't know. Everything I've ever seen of this character is that it's just like always yelling and always in crisis and just absolutely crazy. I was thinking about kind of the SpongeBob arms, how they have like that rubber hose element and like they can be very expressive and wavy. So I thought that kind of fit the exasperated model of our lemon guy here. I went with a ton of teeth again. I knew it had a really big pointy nose. I think I don't know the lore behind it. I don't know why. But I just thought it was a really unique design element. And I think the teeth, having a bunch of those in there, kind of even more. I guess it's on par-ish with my little reference image there, but it's definitely more. And then I don't know why I just pictured him having a meltdown in the bathroom. So I kind of that's going to be a theme here too. I kind of grabbed these open source, Unsplash, copyright free, royalty free images and just kind of manipulate them to like the color and style and vibe that I need. I really like how I got some lime worked in as like a really strong like edge highlight on the lemon, specifically the dual yellow with the saturated lime yellow, lemon lime yellow green. I think looks really nice. I like the movement and the tears, how that creates some dimension, and one's, like going behind the arm, it really feels like it's in space. Now that I'm looking at it zoomed in, there's definitely a mirror back there. I could have reversed my image and put that in there. I didn't think of it at the time. But again, that's part of why I'm doing these videos, to go back and look at the things I've done and just kind of see what my process was like in a review situation instead of always an activating situation. But overall, this first set of 5 characters, I'm pretty happy with. They're really fun to draw. It's really fun to make unique and dynamic poses and angles and things like that. I plan on doing some more of these. I'm just excited to kind of explore. I've looked up like this giant master list. I mean, Adventure Time has like hundreds. I mean, probably correct me if I'm wrong, maybe even thousands of characters. Some prominent and some just like small little one-off things, but lots of fun things to draw, and definitely something I plan on checking out more of and kind of exploring some more. So we're going to take a pause from the Pokemon trading card game illustrations and work on this little series of Adventure Time videos and see where it goes. There's a few more illustrations, so the videos are slightly longer, and I'm interested to see how that goes as well. But other than that, this has been an Art Teacher Draws Adventure Time. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one.